let's carry on now, gentlemen, to China case. Let's see what's going on in this country right now. We're connected with Huiming Zhang. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So you're the executive director of the Guandong Hydrogen Energy Institute. So you're based in the south of China. We're going to discuss what's going on in the province. But first, maybe can you remind us what is the policy in China concerning hydrogen deployment?
Okay. There are a series of the government policies from central government to province government, local governments to promote the hydrogen business development in China. It covers the incentive programs for making the hydrogen storage, transportation, refueling, also the fuel cell manufacturing business and the fuel cell vehicles business. And also for the fuel cell operation business as well. So it covers almost the whole production chain for the hydrogen business in China. Right.
Okay, so now more precisely concerning Guangdong province, what is the agenda? What is the policy?
In Guangdong, as one of the most active fuel cell activities area in China, Canton province issues a lot of incentive programs as well, which is first of all, the programs or the incentive programs covers the fuel cell vehicles operation. And this is extremely important because the fuel cell vehicles operation in China, in South China, covers the city bus business, so directly funding from the government. Also the cargo trucks, including the light truck and heavy duty trucks, and also the subway trains. And also in Guangdong, because a lot of water area like the lakes and the rivers. So right now also the Guangdong province government also initiated some programs to support the fuel cell boats and the ship development programs. So very active right now. And also in order to support this kind of fuel cell transportation, the development program, demo program, and also focus on the hydrogen refueling stations, which is the infrastructures building. Yeah.
What we can say is that the focus is on green hydrogen, which is something very new in China.
Green hydrogen is talking about use renewable energy to produce hydrogen, so to avoid the carbon emission and also the regular emissions. And this is from the big scale point of view, it is very new. It is new in 3 areas. One is the technology still needed to be further developed and more production demo must be done before we can do the real green hydrogen production. And also a lot of the legislations, like a law, the regulations must be further complete in order to use the green energy to build the local hydrogen production plants, such as combine the refueling station and the renewable energy hydrogen production together. And that needs a lot of legal works. And not such the standards, the national standards or the local standards, and that kind of standards are available right now. So we'll need to set up more standards. So I would like to say Guangdong put a lot of efforts on the R&D, the research and development right now, but talking about the commercialization still needs a lot of time. I'm thinking about like 3 to 5 years, maybe even longer. Yeah, 5 to 10 years. Yeah.
Can you tell us about the situation in Foshan city? How many vehicles and how many refueling stations?
Good question. And I'm very happy to tell you the situation in Foshan because I'm in Foshan. And right now, we have over 500 city buses running by the hydrogen power plants, so which is the biggest sector in the hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. And also almost probably like 400, maybe a little bit more than 400 trucks, the light duty trucks for the cargo purpose in Foshan as well. And Foshan builds is the first subway train powered by fuel cell power plants in Foshan nationwide. So running good right now. A lot of people just go to there to take the fuel cell train for fun. Yeah. So this is a really good sign for the fuel cells business in Foshan. And currently, I don't have the latest data, but I'm pretty sure it's almost 30 hydrogen filling stations to support the citywide fuel cell car operations.
Okay, we're talking about deployment. Is it difficult to produce enough hydrogen to power all these vehicles?
Good question. Obviously, for right now, it's not because right now, hydrogen in China is not identified as an energy product. It's still a chemical product. So from this point of view, all the administration control by government still not, the hydrogen still not be treated as energy. So a lot of limitations for the hydrogen using. Another side, still not have enough hydrogen source to support the future hydrogen program in China. So a couple of different ways are doing right now. A lot of the giant company, the state-owned company, like the petroleum company, the electricity power company, they make the big investment to hydrogen production. So I'm expecting from right now for the next few years, we will see more, the hydrogen production rate will be like a triple or maybe even 10 times higher than current hydrogen production rate. That will be more close to support the hydrogen vehicles operation.
Okay, it looks like Guangdong province wants to create a larger hub with Macau and Hong Kong as the neighbors. Is that right?
Yes. Although I'm not sure about the government detailed plans for how to make the hydrogen program commercialization in including Hong Kong and Macau. Yeah, we already talked about in Guangdong province. So Hong Kong and Macau are still a little bit far and really, really high population densities, and also the areas are kind of small, maybe they have different law systems. So it's a little bit difficult to synchronize their development speed piece with the made in China. But for myself, I have a few programs, just academic cooperation programs with the Hong Kong University of Technology, and we have some research programs ongoing, and the government gave a lot of fundings to support this kind of the fuel cell and hydrogen programs in academic area. So I'm pretty sure in the near future, the hydrogen program in the hydrogen commercialization in Hong Kong and Macau must be catch up.
Thank you for sharing all these information. It's been a pleasure to be with you, Mr. Zhang. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay, so we had to record earlier this interview due to connection problems, but it was very interesting to hear from China. This is a country you mentioned, Thierry Leperc, earlier. It's a country that is going very far, very quick towards deployment.
China, I'm going to be also politically. China usually is late in doing things, but then catches up. I had the personal experience of solar, and 20 years ago, the leaders of solar deployment were Japan, Germany, and other European countries. China was nowhere to be seen, and then 10 years later, most of the large solar module manufacturers were Chinese. So this is what we are likely to see in hydrogen. And this is a warning call for Europe, because Europe today is in the same position that it was with solar 20 years ago. Government policies, pioneers, new companies, etc., doing things, and then, you know, some nice forms of success. But something was missed in terms of the scaling of the upstream, especially on the upstream side. There was a vision that it should be done for environmental reasons. You know, the whole solar thing was pushed for mostly environmental reasons, not for industrial reasons. And suddenly the industry was lost in the midst. So I think the lesson here is that we should think about industry. And in our case, in hydrogen, it's not just upstream, you know, electrolyzers or turbines or whatever, I mean, all the equipment that we need to do. But it's also the downstream part. What can we do with the hydrogen? Steel making, ammonia, power production. I mean, there are tons of things that these products can be used. Then again, a systemic approach. And the lesson that we had to understand from China is that industrial policy is both come from leadership, but as well this crazy Chinese spirit. And I can tell you right now, we're working with Chinese companies, some of the largest ones, and they're a bit crazy. And I personally like that. You know, these sort of crazy things, going to moves and things. While in Europe we like, you know, local, smallish and environmental friendly, and we like to protect the planet, etc. But it's not matched with people who have an idea of ramping up industrial policies on a massive scale.
Okay, Pierre-Etienne, you want to add something? China is a country you pretty well know as well.
No, but it's sad, but it is true that China has a very strong drive, and they're moving with a very centralized approach to things, and they're moving at scale immediately, and they do the trial and error at scale. And this is exactly what we need in Europe as well. And the risk we have is that Europe has shown the way with the right systemic view, but the US through entrepreneurship and China through government-led leadership are going to be faster if we do not execute rapidly the vision of Europe. So basically, it's like if we are doing the narrative and the others are implementing it. So we just need, now that we've done the narrative, to make it happen. That's only that. And we should not, we are so complicated, so cumbersome in the way we're managing. The IPCEI is a very nice thing, but it's very complex. You look the effort that has to be done to get the approval by the European Commission to have a derogation to the state aids, which is all driven by the way Europe has been built in the first place. So we need to be more directive. We need to be far stronger in the execution of those visions. So I could not agree more with Thierry on that.
Okay, thank you. Let's turn the floor now again to Bruno Jamet from Vehicle of the Future Cluster. Do we have any questions, Bruno?
Yes, just a little question about the competitivity in terms of price of H2 in China versus diesel price. What's the situation currently, and is it a driver, or are there other drivers? For maybe Thierry or Pierre-Etienne.
Well, I think the hydrogen is lower cost than in Europe today. It's close to 5 or 6, I think, equivalent euros per kilo. It's still more expensive than diesel, but there is a strong subsidy to the truck manufacturers and a strong subsidy on the station setup. So we have the same issues long term than with diesel, but where I diverge from what Thierry is saying is that I think, yes, the price will go down, I don't think it's going to go down so fast and so aggressively than what he says. But I think also that the regulation is going to put everyone at the level playing field, accepting that the cost of energy in general is going to be higher for everyone. And that's a society choice. So it doesn't prevent us from doing what needs to be done to reduce the cost of hydrogen. But I don't think the parity is a parity with something that in the end is going to be banned is not the point. The issue is to get as competitive as possible in comparison with batteries typically, but diesel is going not to be anymore the key. The new normal will not be diesel. So we should not afraid ourselves too much by figures which are extremely aggressive and which might appear a little bit far down the road. We should do our job, reduce the gap, but we should also get the regulations to push everybody into a zero emission direction.